It's Monday morning, the 28th of October, 2024. Can you believe it is almost the end of October? And here we are. It's finally fall in Fair Oaks, and we are all thrilled about that. I'm Cliff Carey. Good morning. Welcome to the Backshed Bible Study. Well, I am absolutely loving being here in the shed this morning because it is not hot in here. It is nice and cool. And who knows, in the next couple of weeks, I might need to turn on my heater. But we have hopefully a really cool time in store for you this morning. I am looking forward to welcoming on some guests, but they have not arrived yet. There they are. They are actually popping in right now. And so we're going to be in for a real special treat here this morning in just a couple of minutes because it's 8 p.m. where they are. So if you all can figure out where they're coming from, that's going to be a fun time. So there they are, Neal and Danielle Carlstrom. Good morning. Actually, good evening.
Good evening. Good morning.
Hello, hello.
Hey, it's so good to see you guys.
You too.
I already started live on here. Is that Jolie?
Yeah.
I say yeah. Anyway, it is. I've already got you going live here with the two people that are watching along. So how awesome is that?
Awesome.
But it is such a privilege to have you guys here. I feel like we started this process well over a year ago, and we had you here as guests on Backshed. It had to be last fall sometime, maybe even older than that. I don't know. If it is older than that, I'm really embarrassed.
Don't remember.
We don't remember last week either, so I think we're on the same page.
For yesterday, for that fact.
Exactly. So you're in Madagascar. In here, I'm going to introduce you, and then I'm going to let you introduce yourselves. But Neal and Danielle are missionaries in Madagascar with their three kids. I'll let you introduce them too, and they are our newest Sunrise supported missionaries, and it is so cool to finally be at this spot. And we'll talk a lot more in a minute here about what got us to that point. But for those that didn't get to watch last time around when we met you and interviewed you last year, tell us a little bit about yourselves, who you are, where you're from, your connection with our local area, and we'll just jump in and have a fun conversation here.
Sure.
Yeah.
The kids are coming. So.
Well, yeah, our kids are running around. They're finishing up dinner and finishing up homework and school. But yeah, we're the Carlstroms. I'm Neal, and this is my wife Danielle. We've been married for about 19 years as of the 8th of this month, and we have been missionaries on the field since 2014 here in Madagascar. So it's been a minute, and it's been a crazy ride. And our three children have been missionaries right along with us. So we have three children. There's Braden on the end, JC, and Jolie.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Braden is now 16 years old. JC is actually turning 15 tomorrow.
Happy birthday, JC.
Thank you.
And then Jolie is 11 years old.
Yeah, Jolie and Audrey, same class, went to school together over at Summit. Braden, you look like a man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
He's like a head taller than I am already.
Are you taller than Dad though yet? That's the thing.
Oh, not even close yet.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
One day, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Peter passed me up when he was 15, and now he just thinks he is the cat's meow because he's taller than the rest of us by like 4 inches. But
wow, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Gosh, you guys. So yeah, tell us what's going on over there.
Yeah, we've been cruising along with a lot of ministry lately, and yeah, it's been yeah, well, just about ourselves. We've
Yeah.
been involved in ministry in the Orangevale, Folsom, Sacramento area for a long time. Um, for those of you who don't know, that we have a lot of fellow ministry partners that attend Sunrise, um, and over the years we've done ministry and worship and ministry and youth programs and missions, but always short term missions. But when God called us at a local camp at Redwood Christian Park one year. We were that crazy couple that actually thought, I think we'll just go for it. We'll just see how it goes. We'll do the midterm or short term trip for 2 years and see how it is. But 2 years turns into 10 years, and that's where we're at now. But yeah, we've been plugging in on ministry, and it's God has been shaping us and molding us and using us in different ways that we never thought we would be used, even on the field. But I think He uses all of it. He lets nothing to waste. And so currently, right now in Madagascar, we're in the area of Tamatave, which is the largest port city in Madagascar. It's on the east coast, and it's the second largest city next to the capital city, which is Antananarivo. And
I can tell you this much. In preparation for us getting to do this, I did I did put that on my Apple
Awesome.
calendar there, so I could see on my world clock.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Well, we say Tana for short, so that makes it
Nice.
easier to pronounce. So Tana for short, and then we actually live in Tamasana here in in the port city and the capital city. And as we were seeking what God was doing and just seeing where He was at work, and we began to join Him in work and just doing. We were used to missions here in Madagascar, just on the other side of the island in Majunga. But post-COVID, when we came back, we really weren't sure what God was going to do with us. But slowly but surely, He started to add the pieces together, and He's allowed us to work with a large organization, Mercy Ships, which many of you may know.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna dig into Mercy Ships here in a minute and get more about that for sure.
But for us, we really felt God lay on our hearts that we needed to be intentional with our lives, with our relationship with Him, our relationship with our family, and the community around us. And as we started to just really engage with all the opportunities, we felt God was telling us that we needed to start an association. And that association, we felt God was calling us to equip Malagasy leaders to be the body of Christ. And so we started Equip Madagascar. And Equip Madagascar is solely, we've seen ministries come and go in Madagascar, in a third world country where there's no shortage of need. But the problem is oftentimes it's foreigners coming and starting projects or starting churches or starting ministries. And as soon as they leave, it all comes crumbling down because they never built into the Malagasy leadership. They never equipped them and built them up to take the keys and run with it. And so that's what we felt really a call to lead from behind. And so we want to target, equipping Madagascar through discipleship, through community development, and through healthcare initiatives.
Okay, we're gonna hear about some of that in a second. You Danielle, you taught me a new word the last time we talked here. That was midwifery.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
that was very new to me. Um, what was funny, well, I'll tell you later. April and I had a very funny conversation about, she's like, what's a good word to describe what being a wife is like? And I'm like, well, Danielle would say being a midwife is midwifery, so being a wife is wiffery.
With
But
Reese.
anyway, sorry, I've
Cute.
I've really digressed there. But let's back up just a quick second before we jump in, like because I want to like hear all about Mercy Ship. I think that's something it came on my radar many years ago, and
Yep.
I think a lot of us have no idea that these kinds of things are happening around the world. So we'll get to that in a second. Um, but let's come back here. This is, Orangevale is kind of home for you guys. Uh, and you had or I should say, continue to have a strong connection over at Pathway Church. Um, and I'll tell you, you know Claire, don't you?
Claire left.
Claire Lack?
Yeah, her people are in my
And
house
Queen.
this morning. So, um, but uh, the a number of families at Sunrise are really closely connected to you. So, if we're gonna talk about the Cluths, okay, Nathan and Kelly Cluth, which for those of you that attend Sunrise, one of the big changes we've made in our missions world in the last several years is that each sponsored missionary for Sunrise has what we call an ambassador for them, and that ambassador is somebody that's here at Sunrise that is serving and involved, and then they serve as a link to our missionaries that are on the field. So they're communicating with them on a regular basis. They're giving us updates, and so when you see this, I'm excited because we're going to put your profile up on the wall in our wall of fame in our hallway that goes to the bathrooms. Um,
Awesome.
maybe not the well anyway it works, but but they'll keep us updated on the things that you guys are doing, and but a lot of other people here at Sunrise, I know that you're really close with. Who are you close with?
Well, we'll go to the clues at first.
Yeah.
So both both of them we've done ministry with for a long time. But Kelly specifically, I grew up in church with Kelly, going to Sunday school together. We were in the same class, same grade, all the way through. And then just doing life and ministry, the ebbs and flows and goes in seasons. But over the years, when we actually started to begin the journey of becoming full-term career missionaries on the fields, we needed to put some pieces together, like some coaches. Our previous organization required us to have some coaches, and Kelly was actually our partnered coach that actually came with us, trained with us how to stay accountable for our finances, for our
Yep.
goals, for all of those things. And it was Kelly and Christy Kasprick actually that
Fantastic
were
people.
our two financial coaches
Yeah.
through the whole process of us starting and getting onto the field initially.
On those.
Well, yeah, and talk about
And
amazing
George.
people.
Yeah, we love this is our family, so we
Yeah.
feel so close to these guys. We can pick up exactly where we left off with the Webbs, with the Dills, with the Shorts,
Goodyear.
the Goodyears, yeah, all of the above. Like, I'm sure we're missing a few. There's a few, and there's a few that we're not sure who is attending at Sunrise, but I'm sure they if they had a shout on this Facebook on this live feed, then we would.
Did you
Claire,
ever have?
I mean,
Yeah, did you have overlap with the Van Ashes?
Yeah.
Of course. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's the head of our elder board now here and all that. Eric is.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So it's just fun, like the connections with you all, and so you all out there that are watching along know my connection with them actually is not a Sunrise connection, as we go through Summit Christian School. So when you guys are back here furloughing, or what, we don't call it furlough anymore, do we? We call it home assignment.
Yeah. Well, actually, some still say furlough. Yeah.
Okay.
That home assignment usually.
But your kids are at Summit, and so Jolie and Audrey are in the same class, and all of that brought us, Neal, you and I, on a trip to Washington D.C.
Right.
together a few years back, and
And
would
Braden's nodding. Oh yeah.
yeah, that's right, Braden, you were there. Peter was there, and you were both much shorter then. Um, but yeah, I mean, it seriously was, Neal, what it was a privilege that night flying back to California from DC, just getting to talk to you and I running to Starbucks together to find a bathroom outside of Ford's Theater, and
Yeah.
just um but getting to connect and hearing your heart. And I mean, I remember Steve Goodyear so clearly, just sitting in between us, just listening as we were talking back and forth. But it was so neat to hear your heart, see who you were. And I had known so many people that were good friends of yours, and were just always talking about you all. I mean, and when you would leave to go back to Madagascar from Summit, I mean, the school would basically have a day of mourning, as as you all would head out. I mean, it was just that kind of connection you had with so many people. So it's, I can tell you all from Sunrise, these people are the real deal. And it's just so fun to have them on our team now, and be sponsored missionaries. So uh, anyway, that excites me, and so you all know. But let's okay. You want to hit
Well,
the mercy?
we want to
Go
say
ahead.
thank you. We want to say thank you, and thank you uh, for hearing about our story, for continuing to praying for us and being with us. So we thank you for all the folks that we mentioned, and I'm sure there's more. There's like the Dixons, and I'm sure I'm leaving some. I'm sure I'm leaving a whole bunch out, but so many that's been with us throughout this journey for so long, and it's just great that we have another a church family that is a part as ambassadors on this mission with us, because we can't do this alone. We have to do it with the body of Christ. And so we
Yeah.
thank you guys. We're excited.
Amen to that. And and the last thing, it's one of the challenge. I can say this. You don't. You're not allowed to, but I can say this. But one of the major challenges to being on the mission field is sometimes people have to set aside. Missionaries have to set aside that work that God's called them to doing so they can sometimes come back and try to raise money. Or there's always just this distraction of having fundraising going on, because that's your support that keeps you on the field. And so the more we can have churches and individuals and people that are supporting them without them having to look back to try to go find more support, is a very good thing. So which one of the things that we're going to do for you guys, and I told you about this in the email the other day, is we set up a separate little fund. So besides besides our budgeted amount that goes to support the Carlstroms, if you all decide that you want to give above and beyond, specifically to their ministry, what we do is we collect those funds every month, and then we send those on through Sunrise. So that we make it easy. You can give through Sunrise to be able to support the Carlstroms besides what we are also doing. So it's a great way to support. So there, we got that elephant out of the room, so to speak. I want to hear about mercy ships. Like, and when I was talking to Nathan and Kelly the other day, they said you guys have had some crazy cool developments recently. So yeah, tell us about mercy ships. Tell us about some of the newer stuff that's been going on.
It has been kind of a crazy dream to be able to work with mercy ships on this level, because it's always been something I've been jealous about. Like it's always seemed like it was something that would be, oh, that's for younger folks, or for somebody who isn't already established, or maybe I just needed to go back and do a medical job that could actually get me on the ship, even though there's a lot of different jobs that people can volunteer for on the ship. But we were actually here in Madagascar for the last field service in 2015-16, and we were able to help Mercy ships, the patient selection team, when they came through our area in Majunga. The ship wasn't stationed in our area; it was on the other side of the island here in Tamatave. But we were able to collaborate and to work with some of the team, and it was just a great experience, and not something that we ever thought we would come across again until we got back and started to seeking where God was using us, and we started to hear that there was some people getting ready for the ship to come here this year, and we were just collaborating, helping them, assisting them with whatever connections or contacts or government connections. Some of the struggles, there's been a lot of struggles for Mercy ships and the connection and the relationship with the government that has caused a lot of difficulties, and one that we hope to share in a newsletter pretty soon. But just about delaying the hospital from opening up, and delaying getting a new protocol, which is an agreement between the ship and the country in order to operate and in order to work and do surgeries on the ship. But through the process, as we were working with some of these people, I was actually trying to get a guy that I was discipling at the time. I was trying to get him plugged in as a chaplain on board. And the other leaders got talking with me, and they said, "Hey, we have this new position, this new idea for a position, and we were wondering if you would be interested in coming and working for Mercy Ships." And I said, "Well, I just need to know what that really means, what that looks like." And they said, "We really don't know either." But
Really?
you're going to be the church partnership liaison, and you'll be involved in Mercy Ministries projects, and you'll have a day crew, you'll have an assistant, a Malagasy assistant, and you'll have a budget to work with for conferences and leadership trainings. I said, as long as I can hire Peter, the guy I've been discipling, as long as I can hire him, then we're on board. And 10 months later, and here we are, working with Mercy Ships.
Wow. So is this I mean, I guess, is this as long as they are there at Madagascar? Is this go beyond that? Like, what does that look like?
Yes, both, potentially longer. But so the Mercy Ships has agreed to a 2-year field service for Madagascar. So every field service, when they come for a year, they have a 10 month field 10-month field service, and then they go back to their port city in order for recertification and repairs for seaworthiness. And for the Africa Mercy that's here in Madagascar, they go back to Durban. But there's 2 ships that are now operating for Mercy Ships. One is the Africa Mercy, and one that is 2 times the size of the Africa Mercy is the Global Mercy that was just launched, and it's now serving in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
But Africa Mercy here in Madagascar arrived in February, and it should be leaving mid-December, and then going back to Durban, and then coming back again mid-February. And so we committed with Mercy Ships to be here during the long 2-year stint, 2-year field service. However, as Mercy Ships is growing as well, they're trying to grow their impact in the countries that they serve as well. And they have a new initiative called a country engagement, a long-term country engagement plan. And that's the unique nature about my role on Mercy Ships is technically my role is supposed to be a live on board, live on the ship position. However, they actually asked us, would you mind coming and living on the ship? And we said, no, I think that would be going backwards for us.
Yeah.
No, thank you to the 2-minute showers. No, thank you to the curfew. No, thank you to the, I mean, some of these things wouldn't just work for us at all.
Right.
And so they said, okay, we have to make you a Malagasy day crew. So so I kind of, I'm like a Malagasy day crew, but not. And I work with the country engagement team who lives in the country, but not. And I'm kind of like a chaplain on the ship, but not.
But not. Yeah.
So I'm a unique role. So they're still trying to figure me out, but I do a lot of collaboration with a lot of different departments. But really, it's opened up the door for us to collaborate and network with a lot of different churches within Tamatave and Madagascar.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, if you're off the ship and if you're still in your community, that has to be a win for keeping your connections with local churches and leaders and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So essentially, he's getting the church involved with Mercy Ships and Mercy Ships involved with the churches. So it's a really event. So hosting big conferences on the ship. And
so to date, we've done pastoral conferences. We've done biblical counseling conferences. We've done 2 sessions with some of our ministry partners that we've already established before the ship got here.
Yeah.
And we've also done a premarital counseling conference internally. We've done the Helping Babies Breathe conference trainings on board. I'm also involved in getting volunteers, crew members on the ship, plugged into ministries, local ministries, everything from youth groups or youth English clubs to women's shelters to prison ministries, things like that.
Okay, so my question for you is, when the ship comes in and docks and stations itself there, what is the response by the locals? I mean, is this a really big deal? Is it, hey, there's this ship out in the harbor and we're not sure what to do with it? Like, how are they seeing this?
Yeah, there's yes, it's a big deal. And because it's a third world country, that I think it's just because any country, there's a lot of rumors that go around, and there's constantly a kind of rumor that is started because of the unknown or the fear or because this Christian ship pulls up and offers to do free surgeries.
What gives?
For without anything in return. And so many people think the rumors are endless, that they're organ harvesters. Mercy Ships is organ harvesters. They're stealing children for slavery. They're stealing gold, and they're just using this as a mask to take the resources. Yeah. Lots of different things, but we really try to be careful and engaging with the churches, and that actually was part of my job. But a unique thing that they used here in Madagascar is Facebook, because Facebook is the communication for all of Malagasy. It's just the way that things fly. So just sharing and informing the community positively why we're here and what we're doing. And because this is also the fourth or fifth time that the ship has been here, since 1996 was the first time Mercy Ships arrived with the ship on Anastasis. And so there are people who are familiar and can continue to spread that same information
in a good way.
In a good way. Yeah. That's cool. We have a question from someone watching along, and Valerie wants to know, in your new role, do you still get to work through your association with the local church leaders?
Yeah, it's kind of a unique thing of how God has just opened this door up. We were praying for a couple different things. We were in the beginning, and while we were beginning to work with Mercy Ship leaders before I had this role, we were still forming our association. And so really what God has done is allowed us to work and use Mercy Ship's platform to be a seasoned resident of Madagascar, being able to speak with the local pastors and leaders that I've never met, and them all of a sudden having an instant connection because they trust Mercy Ships. Now they trust us as well as being
Yeah,
leaders of Mercy
gives
Ships.
you credibility.
And so we can come with a different focus, which opens a lot of different doors for us. And so even just for the network that it's going to create, and I'll talk a little bit about this for what we're planning to do in 2025. But it's opening the doors for a larger network of us to work. So as once the ship leaves, we'll still be here,
Right.
and now with a much larger network and ministry partners that we can work with and collaborate with.
Well, I think as I have all kinds of thoughts swimming in my head here, so I'll try to come down to one. But what I love that I'm hearing you talking about is there is a balance, a really healthy balance in your ministry. I call it a both and approach that says you can be treating people with compassion and love and care, and you also can be sharing the gospel and discipling them, and in that they're not mutually exclusive. And I know, and I know in some countries, especially in some Muslim countries, it's very difficult for missionaries to be able to openly, overtly, share the gospel and disciple and things like that. But sometimes it's just we're just going to do these works. We're going to do these good works. We're going to, hopefully they'll kind of feel God through us somehow. But I see you doing both, like side hand in hand together, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of a unique situation. We were praying. We had a fellow missionary family that was in Tamatov that actually brought us to Tamatov that we were really close with, and we began to engage in some of the churches, the local FBBM churches here in Tamatov.
I mean, Baptist.
Okay.
Biblica Baptista Madagascar. But we were working with them, and as this transition came and Mercy Ships came, we found out that they needed to move. They were changing their roles within the IMB. They worked for International Mission Board, and they were going to be moving to the capital city in Tana. And so we were really struggling with our missionary network and just for our kids as they're getting older, it's a little bit harder to engage in some of because they don't go to school with the Malagasy community or the French school anymore, like they used to. And so establishing those core friendships and kind of ministry partners was really difficult. We have some great Malagasy ministry partners, but a lot of them don't live here in Tamatov. So when the ship came, we had an instant community that we were able to become a part of and begin to minister with and to. So that's why it's such a unique opportunity, because not everybody that comes through Mercy Ships is a Christian. And so oftentimes you are evangelizing to people that you're serving with. So that's where I say I'm kind of like a chaplain. I get to have that role as a chaplain on board, ministering to other people on the ship. And also there's hundreds of Malagasy day crew, which are our day crew workers that do various jobs on the ship as well. So we get to minister to them as well. and also work with them they're plugged into various churches. And then we work with the leaders and pastors within the churches. So there's 3 or 4 different groups of ministry opportunities. And then when I'm not even me, these guys, the family, get to be involved in various Bible studies. All the kids are involved in choir or in youth groups,
book clubs. Yeah.
So they're engaged with a lot of the community, and which has been a very life-giving.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a quick second, and and if they're there and feel the need to want to jump in on any of this, that's fine, but they don't have to, because I do understand some of the pressure.
He literally
jumping in.
What's up, Braden? But okay, Braden, let me ask you some questions here for a second. You are what people in the mission world fondly call a third culture kid. Your passport says America. You're living in Madagascar and engaging in that culture. And I know you have friends. You speak multiple languages. Tu parles français?
Un peu.
Okay, un peu. More than me. And so what has that been like for you, growing up in this kind of environment, and even like when you come to the US, are you leaving home and your parents are going home? Like what is all that like?
Man, that's a good question. I think I'm pretty sure it's been mentioned in many, many books, but I feel like home is it's a weird term for third culture kids, especially because of all of the moving around, and how much you're moving around. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. I think it's just hard to explain how home is where your toothbrush is, as a friend of mine would call it. It's where it's just kind of where you are. So home can be where your friends are, but it's not always like a concrete place.
Yeah, it's not exactly a place. That's a fantastic way to say that, because do you when you get to the US, do you ever I'm not meaning to like place answers in you. So if the tree I'm barking up is the wrong tree, let me know. But like if you come to the US and you're hanging out with people, do you ever feel like, oh man, those people they're kind of worried about trivial, weird things, like the things they're into are strange, or do you get there and go, I don't know what any of these things are that they think are cool, or has the internet changed all of that and you're totally connected with everything we're connected with here?
Yeah, it's again, being a part of those different cultures, it's like you have to, especially being like Gen Z, all into social media, everything is the latest trend. I think it's harder to stay on top of it or be, hip with the times when you're 10,000 miles away from everything else. And you're definitely right. Social media and the internet has been an amazing part in helping.
Oh, did you lose me?
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear?
I hear you perfectly. So,
awesome.
But if you don't have to
see
see my face, that's not a bad thing. I can still see you.
We just don't know where you went.
I don't. I'm listening to my dogs barking here in the background, which is starting to get quite annoying. They've gotten all the dogs in the neighborhood stirred up.
We've got some dogs barking out our anyway. Sorry.
But yeah,
social media has been a great part in of keeping those trends, but it's different. You can't choose one, or you have to choose one or the other. You're either really hip with it or you're not in it at all, because that middle ground is kind of where the third culture kid hangs out in.
And how about, do you feel like any reverse culture things when we go back?
Oh yeah, especially when hanging out with friends, hanging out with with people my age can be really shocking sometimes, especially now. I feel like I'm going to get a severe culture shock because now all of my friends are driving. They all have jobs. Technically, you can't get a license here until you're 18. So I'm not even at that level yet. Um, and yeah, it's going to be different. And it has been different. I think every time we've gone back to the US, I've gone through different kind of stages in dealing with friendships
Yeah.
and life transition into an American kid.
Oh, I believe it because here you are, you're going through your whole life growth process. You know who you are, but you leave a place for a few years and you come back, and the people that you were connected with they've changed through that time, right? And maybe you haven't stayed connected with them, um, and it's
Yeah.
a whole thing. I think do you stay connected with your old friends back here, or is that like too much to kind of have both kinds of relationships going?
I think it's been natural. So by the time that we left, it was 8th grade, right after the DC trip, and everyone was already branching out into their different high schools. People were focusing on making new friends and kind of breaking not burning bridges or breaking ties, but kind of letting off the previous relationships, especially those who were not in the same high school or who were not going to the same high school. And that only fostered the disconnect I think I have with some of my friends now. And not to say that I'm not texting them or kind of keeping in touch with them every now and then, but it's definitely been a let off since 8th grade.
Yeah, it's hard. It's universally hard. And now, are
Yeah.
there? I got one more question for you. Do the laws in Madagascar make it that when you turn 18, you have to leave the country and go to the U.S., or is it the kind of thing you can hang around? So I know other countries like where it's a solid cutoff. As soon as a kid turns 18, he's got to leave. So, um,
I there's definitely no law about that. I think I would have known by now if there was one. That'd be a pretty interesting shock to me. But yeah, I think my next couple of years are going to be a lot of the missionary work with mercy ships. But once I turn 18, there's a lot of fogginess in that area.
right?
Then what?
Then what is going to be the big question?
We've got. Oh yeah.
If we actually worked on the ship, on mercy ships, then that is a policy on mercy ships. So if you have a family and you're on board the ship, as soon as you graduate the high school, and you have to either and you turn 18, you either have to find another job on the ship as a single, or you have to evacuate. You have to disembark the ship. Yeah.
Well, do you know about the MK scholarship at Liberty?
I'm familiar with it.
Why are you
familiar with it? Because of the schooling track I'm on.
That's where they're attending online school.
With the online.
Because we have because we've got another family that's supported by Sunrise. They're in Tanzania, and their son Johnny Button, for all of you that remember Johnny, he's in his sophomore year at Liberty, but he got that scholarship there, and full tuition, I think. But
wow. So yeah, both Braden and JC are involved in Liberty, and they're both a part of the dual enrollment program. So once they complete their high school diploma, they'll also graduate with a associate's degree.
That's fantastic.
And I think Braden already has a plan of what he's going to want to do, but I don't know. Maybe it's changed.
It hasn't truly changed. So the path I want to go on is more medically minded, anesthesiology, or anesthesiology specifically. So,
Yep.
That's good. Hey, I have.
You mentioned grants somewhere. You mentioned grants, and just curious. We could just write those down.
It's not like you got the money just flowing here. Go wherever you want, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
will
I
survive.
have multiple friends who are nurse anesthetists and doing quite
It's
well.
a great word, isn't it?
It's a great word. I still can't say it. Um, they're basically anesthesiologists that get paid less. But anyway, um, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
that's super. Okay, well, we'll be praying for you, Braden, because
Thank you.
and I'm sure I'll also pray for all the people over the next 2 years that are going to ask you what you're doing with the rest of your life. So, and expect you to have that all figured out as
Right.
Peter gets nonstop this year, probably mostly from his parents. Um,
What you gonna do? You gonna do?
okay, speaking of, of course, this did exactly what I thought I would do, which is we're going way longer than I thought we would. Um, but let's see if, Danielle,
Yeah.
take us into the midwifery world a little bit here. And what's your world looking like these days with what you're doing?
Well, was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, we got to promote a proposal for a maternity center here in Tamakov, and we're just waiting to hear back on how that went. We're also going to be starting to fundraise for starting another maternity center in Montesua, which is one of the other ministry sites we are helping out with as we can. Once a month, we go there. It's about an 8-hour drive. How many miles was it, though? It's only
200 and something kilometers.
200 kilometers, and it takes us 8 hours.
Yeah, that's in our perspective, that's not very far, but that is a whole different story there.
It's just
Yeah.
telling you,
I think it's 300 something kilometers, and then 7 to 8 hours, sometimes longer, depending on really bad road.
Right.
But
yeah, and then I've also got the Helping Babies Breathe course that's up and running, and the Lord has really blessed me with Malagasy leaders that are taking the reins on it and doing the trainings. On Wednesday, actually, we'll have our final one for this year, and we'll have 3 new certified master trainers come out of that training, and we'll have 24 new providers. So that's really exciting. And I'm almost done with the second course, which is the Helping Mothers Survive Bleeding After Birth course. It's all done in Malagasy. I'm just working on the formatting, and then I'll teach it, and then have the 2 that I'm teaching, they'll start training, and we'll go from there and kind of work out all the kinks on that. But that's where we're at. It looks like the Lord could really make it 2 maternity centers in 1 year. We'll see.
That's absolutely amazing. It blows me away what you do, and it blows me away what you all do. I think the thing that stands out so much to me from the 2 previous times that we've had a chance to kind of show you off a little. That's a terrible way to say that. I apologize for just saying that.
Okay.
No, but that's one of those
Honor
things
us.
like, let's
It's
show
all.
off our missionaries.
Oh, I know, AB.
But expose people to you, and we were meeting with the Mission Commission several months ago, and you all got to we got to tell your story a little bit to them. But I think the thing that stood out so much to me is how much of a family approach you all take to being on the mission field. That this is something that you sense that you are called to as a family. It's not just you dragging your kids over to Africa and saying, "Come on, just deal with it." But I get the sense that everybody's on board. I mean, it's not all happy and rainbows and unicorns or anything like that. But
Yeah, no, in fact, tonight, so we're prepared tomorrow being JC's birthday, we prepared most of the food that we could tonight. So we were all in the kitchen, blisters all over, chopping up all the carrots real tiny, and the, what do we call it in English? How to cook there? Green beans. Green beans, and making mango juice and citrus juice and strawberry juice. We're all in there.
this is all for the training conference
on Wednesday. So
yeah, so you are all in on this.
Yeah.
And
It's a blessing.
I sure appreciate you letting me interrupt that tonight, um, with you and
Well,
getting to talk to you all.
Braden and
Uh,
Tasty made us tacos, so it was an introduction.
well
Wasn't too
done,
bad.
bien
Yeah,
fait. Very well done. Well, I need to wrap this up because we're almost to 11 a.m. here, on our side of the world. But could I just take a minute as we close and pray over you all as a family, and
Yeah.
just
Actually, could we mention a few
yeah,
things?
please.
One thing that we would love for prayer about is you might know him. We have a friend coming out in about 2 weeks to come and visit us by the name of Mr. Wes Earhart. And
Awesome.
so that transpired as I made Wes one of my accountability kind of mentors on this second time coming back in 2022 when we came back. And so we really been working with him. And for those of you who don't know, he works for CMDA, which is Christian Medical and Dental Association. And that's part of the ministry that he's involved with on the Western. He's the Western Regional Director for CMDA. And with meeting with Wes constantly, continually, weekly, and he knows just about everything and all the relationships that I kind of dump on him, and he's very familiar with everything going on. But also, he's for those of you who know him, he's a networking guru,
Yes, he
and
is.
he's incredible with making connections, and I think that's his one of his spiritual gifts. It's just he calls it the second baseman. He's like, sometimes I get to make the play, and sometimes I'm just passing it along. And the reason why we're invited him out here on behalf of Mercy Ships actually is because through the journey together, he's really connected a few ministry partners for Madagascar and ministry partners that he has there. And so I really feel that God has called me in this role with Mercy Ships to build a platform, use Mercy Ships' massive platform to build a medical missions conference where we can bring people together and launch a network, an association, a CMDA-like association for all of the medical mission partners in Madagascar, including those healthcare workers in secular areas that are Christians and that are just alone. So we want to bring them together. We want to empower them. We want to encourage them. We want to equip them. And we want to raise the standard of the broken system here in Madagascar. And so he gets to do that in 2 weeks. We just got the approval for that. And he's coming out on I think the 7th or 8th of November. And he'll be here for 2 weeks. So if you be praying for that, it's going to be a great time to show him a little bit of Madagascar and all the things that he's already heard about, and now he gets to
and to start the platform
and he gets to share with us the model and how to really put it into a good cultural context for Madagascar. So
That is so cool. And I mean, I love Wes. He is maybe one of the most down to earth people I have ever met in my life. And um, I just you nailed it. You know, he is maybe one of the most connected people I've ever met. But I was thinking about this. I have a niece who's in med school down at Loma Linda, and she got connected with a ministry like this. That's actually kind of almost a sister ministry kind of to CMDA, and that it really strove to take medical students and equip them for seeing their positions as doctors and nurses as ministry, and how to spiritually care for patients alongside the physical care. And it was so valuable. I actually interviewed a guy named Bob here a couple of years ago who was part of that ministry, and super fascinating what they were doing. So I'm excited for you all to have that, and we'll be praying for that with Wes coming out there. And you get like your accountability partner gets to come out and spend time with
Right.
you face to face.
Yeah.
How about you kids? Anything you want us to pray for?
Okay.
Nothing in particular. I think you guys nailed it.
Yeah.
The transition is always hard, and navigating, the friendships. And they also have a multicultural experience on the ship, because there's about
Oh, I bet.
42 different countries represented on the ship, serving from all over the world. And so there's core people that live on the ship, but there's about 100 new people coming and going every month.
Oh my goodness.
So it's it's pretty intense on the ship sometimes, and it could be its own kind of world and vacuum. So they are navigating some of those challenges with friendships and relationships, and it's a part of the missionary life of learning how to say goodbyes, and if it hurts, it that they loved well. But they're getting ready to say goodbye to some
Really good
friends that they've made in this past year. So
and I know down the road, when I was working at Hume Lake over the years, we would have some missionaries and their children that would spend a summer with us or things like that. And sometimes I would see two different approaches, in the kids. One would be, I'm really good at making friends. I can do it quickly. But I'm also really good at losing friends because they walk away and I never see them again. And so I'm constantly saying goodbye, and I've had some just hard conversations over the years, to where they're kind of hardened to making new friends, and others like I can make friends with anybody. So we'll be praying for you guys for the next several years. It's a unique challenge that you're on, but God's with it, and that's the thing is God has you where you are, no different than God has a kid over at Bella Vista right where they are today. And and that's where you are, and that's how our God works. He has his people all over the world to be his ambassadors, regardless of geography. So anyway, this has been really fun. I love to see you guys as a whole family. JC, I hope 15 is amazing. I know. I know a lot of 15-year-old girls that fight with their moms. So be kind to your mother. Okay? It's tempting.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I think you're good so far. I think you're doing well, but I worked in youth ministry too long. So there's just that, you're trying to break free and mom's like, no, I want you to stay young. It's hard. Goes, I think we're going to shed some tears next year when Peter heads off to college. So anyway, let me pray for you. Okay. And then we'll kind of wrap things up. Oh yeah. Lord, in the name of Jesus, you are so good. And I am so grateful for the Carlstroms, and that we finally are able to be at this point today where they are officially a part of our Sunrise team, and I pray that we as a church can truly bless them. Not, I mean, the money is one thing, but Lord, help us to bless them through support of praying for them, Lord, and I pray that you would raise up the right people to go visit at the right time, and be like Wes is being for them coming up here in a couple of weeks, which I do pray that you would use Wes in a mighty way to just increase their ministry, multiply it, but also would there just be some rich times of connecting with a dear friend that knows them, and I just pray that you would lay on Wes the ability to ask the hard questions and to give good insight, specifically into Neal, but into the whole family and into the ministry that's happening there. And I do pray that you would raise up this ministry through CMDA, and something that would look like that over there. And Father, ultimately that people would know you, that they would know your salvation. And Lord, thank you for the Carlstroms, that you've taken this family and you've taken them through hard times over many years, and yet you've brought them there. And God, would you just use them in a mighty way? Would you strengthen them every day when they're discouraged? Would you show them that you are there and that you're present and that you're strengthening them? And Lord, I just pray that your kingdom would be furthered through them. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. The dogs say amen too.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
My dogs were in a wrestling match right outside the shed here for about 5 minutes. It was driving me batty. Anyway, what I'm going to do this is I'm going to sign off to our people that have been watching along. Thank you, all of you. My friend Cam, thanks for watching today. Good to see you. Alyssa, Valerie, thanks for your comments. And Barb, Angie, and whoever else was watching along. It was really good to have you all there. Thanks for joining us. And welcome back next week. We'll talk more about Sunrise in the 50th. But have a good one. Carlstroms, thank you. You all stay on the line though. Don't hang up. And but we're gonna disconnect the live feed. All right. God bless you. I'll see you next week.